Breaking news. FullyRawKristina says she's not a Nazi. But could it be that intrepid reporters have dug up her perilous past, connecting her to this man? Stay tuned.
Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and head on over to John's YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe, watch some of his videos and support him. He's truly just a gem on this planet. So much knowledge to share, so much love to share. I have been wrongly accused of being a neo-Nazi, Holocaust supporter, white supremacist, anti-Semitic, and a racist. And terrible things have been said about me, as if it weren't hard enough already. To be a vegan in this world and to come out speaking about the things that you're passionate about, a major vegan publication comes out and throws me under the bus. But I will just say this, Veg News, people consider you to be a very trustworthy, major, popularly posted, widely accessible, and all different types of retail stores publication. Shame on you for not fact-checking or even reaching out to me to get your facts straight, and instead you chose to listen to trolls online who listen to YouTube haters who sit around all day trashing me to make money. Literally. That's why those videos exist on YouTube, is because people make money off of them. John Rose is a person who is so dear to my heart. For those of you who don't know John, how do I even describe your magicalness?
Abat le ciel.
With an open mind, within 5 minutes, you can prove the Holocaust is a scam. Hitler was pretty nice to the Jews after what the Jews did to Hitler. When you look at the big picture and you find out who's pulling the strings, you realize, oh, okay, the Satanists snuck into the Jewish religion, and now they're calling themselves Jews when they're Zionists, they're Satanists. And then they got the other two religions, Christians and Muslims, to fight against one another. If Hitler would have won the war, this world would be a different world right now. He would have turned Germany into a vegetarian country. People would have seen around the world, look, see, this is what I'm trying to do now with you guys, where people are going to start thinking, or hating me, think, oh my God, he's anti-Semitic. You've been so brainwashed you don't even realize Jews aren't Semites. I mean, when you look more into this, you realize that it's all a distraction. And we don't need to be distracted here. Forget everything about Hitler. Who cares whether he's good or bad? He did something that woke us up, and that's all we need to take from Hitler. I'll concede he's evil. I don't care. It doesn't matter. What matters is what he proved to the world. Japan did the same thing. What did the world do? They attacked him.
This is the man who introduced me to eating raw foods. He's one of the closest people to me, a mentor beyond all belief. So many people right now are just asleep. You can shake them, you can yell at them, you can ask them to drink a green juice, and they genuinely believe that it doesn't matter.
Well, the Jews came up with a game plan, and they said, look, if we can get America involved, will you give us Palestine? And we can get America involved because we own the press over there. We can change public opinion around in a flash. We can make up stories about how bad these are. And when you look at the evil atrocities that happened during that time, it was back in Russia. The gulags in Russia. That's where you see a lot of those pictures. And then when you see people that were starving to death in these work camps, the reason why they were starving to death is months before the war was ended, the Allied forces, the bad guys, bombed the hell out of the roads that brought supplies to those work camps. And I am an official version denier. That's right. I know governments lie. I know that the official version from most officials is a lie. If you deny this, if you're called this denier and that denier and this denier, vaccine denier, climate denier, Holocaust denier, you need to look into those subjects with an open mind. To understand what I'm saying, you got to watch, if you haven't already, 1,500 architects and engineers for 9/11 truth. It's frightening for a lot of people to realize this is really in effect, a twilight zone that we live on in this planet, where psychopaths literally run the asylum. We are debt slaves. You got to play our money game. When you play our money game, for every $1 billion we print, we get 90 billion. We have an unfair economic advantage. We can own and control everything. Brainwash the hell out of you guys. Bombard you with so much information. You go to the movies and you're being reinforced to put more pages in those books, so that when you see someone telling the truth, you're going, deny, deny, deny. Look at my book. It's so freaking big.
FullyRawKristina offers a rather paltry defense against these accusations of her having promoted neo-Nazism or one particularly odious YouTube neo-Nazi, namely John Rose. Her defense is, on the one hand, to point out that she herself doesn't qualify as white, as if, ipso facto, because she is non-white, therefore she's neither racist nor anti-Semitic. Right, because it's unheard of for someone who is Latino to sympathize with the neo-Nazis. It's completely unheard of for someone who is Lebanese to be anti-Semitic. And it's completely unheard of for someone who is half Latino, half Lebanese to be both racist and anti-Semitic. Right. So that's a kind of self-defeating argument unto itself. And then her second line of attack is to try to claim that this is just some guy she met in a grocery store one time, someone who tapped her on the shoulder in the grocery store. And those of you who've kept copies of the video will know that is not a fair assessment of what their relationship was, neither publicly nor privately. We have plenty of videotape of FullyRawKristina saying just how much John Rose meant to her as a mentor, as a coach, as a spiritual guide, as a guru. They had this profound and deep connection, and they made several YouTube videos collaborating together, and she directly endorsed and promoted his channel, and I believe her when she says that was just part and parcel of the friendship and wasn't on the basis of any definite knowledge on her part of what exactly this guy's political philosophy was. However, as you will have seen from those short excerpts of John Rose, anyone could tell that he was a raving madman, even if they had no knowledge of what the specific historical and political facts involved with the argument were. His madness is self-instantiating, self-demonstrating. It's really not hard to it's not hard to have that skeptical side of your mind start tingling when he starts loudly ranting about Adolf Hitler. I mean, even if you don't know who Hitler was, you might just stop and put it into Wikipedia and start, yeah, no, John Rose's views on human nutrition are similarly bizarre. But in FullyRawKristina's case, she had a partnership going on with John Rose, minimum 5 years. I would say more than 7 years. For as long as I can remember, she supported him as a guru, him as a spiritual leader, his diet, his fruit retreats, his YouTube channel. She was funneling her followers over to his channel and endorsing him in the most glowing terms possible as a profound guiding light for humanity, etc., etc. So yeah, that will politically influence people, even if she herself somehow magically remained blissfully ignorant of the odious political message that was obviously issuing forth from his YouTube channel. I don't know how little due diligence you can possibly do before figuratively getting into bed with somebody like that. Now look, history provides us with many strange parallels to this scenario. How did this controversy come to the fore? It started with me. It started with Abaliciel, my YouTube channel, pointing the finger at FullyRawKristina, putting these clips together, and then several other YouTube channels picked up and recycled, repurposed the clips from her channel, which is what YouTube is all about, by the way. Of course, I appreciate it if you name me as the source, if you provide a link to my channel in the description. Several other channels did that. Vegan Gains did not. And yeah, by the way, I can tell when people they didn't do the research themselves. They're directly borrowing my clip because it has the little headings and captions on it that I added. It's obvious in various ways. Vegan Gains was among the people to really take the fight to FullyRawKristina and say, in effect, hey, this guy, Islam Hazard, has caught you. He's really pointed out that you have this odious track record of working with, endorsing, buddying up with one of the most notorious neo-Nazis on YouTube who just happens to be vegan, just happens to be a vegan diet guru, right? So to my knowledge, the first time she really reacted to that criticism was when Vegan Gains took the fight to her. Now, from my perspective, I put that video up. YouTube did much more than just censor me. I then had a battle lasting for about 2 years, not just to prevent that video from being deleted, but really to prevent my whole channel from being blacklisted as hate speech. Because YouTube will censor someone who is criticizing neo-Nazis as if they are a neo-Nazi themselves. They'll just take the fact that the word neo-Nazi appears in the title. They will punish you. They will not just punish that video. They will punish your whole channel. So my whole channel suffered terrible consequences because I took that gambit, because I made that commitment to make this important argument. And I didn't even get the minor benefit of larger channels like Vegan Gains thanking me or giving me a link in the description. Now, as I have mentioned before, it seems to me that the other channels who joined in the fight, including Vegan Gains, they were not punished in this way by YouTube, perhaps just because Vegan Gains is himself a person of color. He is half African Canadian and half white Canadian. It was just presumed that he couldn't possibly be a neo-Nazi sympathizer himself, that he couldn't possibly be supporting white supremacism, whereas me, even though with this beard, I look more like a candidate for rabbinical college than ever. I am Jewish, genetically, I am, but I'm also a white guy with a shaved head, and it's quite likely I was censored and punished a little bit more for that reason. Not a whole lot of thought goes into the decisions over at the YouTube censorship committee. All right. But there's an even stranger parallel involved here. Can we think of another YouTube channel who, while not being racist himself or herself, developed some kind of close personal friendship with a white supremacist or neo-Nazi YouTuber, and then promoted that other YouTube channel, endorsed the YouTuber as a person, and promoted their channel, and promoted their vegan diet advice and exercise advice in the same way FullyRawKristina did? That's right. Vegan Gains himself was guilty of this exact same offense. Vegan Gains had a long-term friendship with Tara McCarthy, whose former show was called Reality Calls, and her husband, or longtime boyfriend at the time, now ex-husband, they've broken up, Corey McCarthy. This duo, Corey McCarthy and Tara McCarthy, they were vegan, white supremacist, neo-Nazis of the most overt kind imaginable. And I've made so many videos on this channel already addressing that controversy at each stage and in its aftermath. Tara McCarthy found out that she had one great-great-grandparent who was Jewish, and then her entire audience of neo-Nazis and white supremacists turned against her. What a shock. Turned out she didn't think her Jewish heritage was a big deal, but the kind of people who subscribed to and supported a neo-Nazi on YouTube, it was a big deal to them. So all the support she had from her audience went from being sympathetic to sour in record time. She lost her nerve. She closed down her YouTube channel, deleted the record of most of her presence off the internet. You can still find it on BitChute. You still can, including, by the way, her interview with Vegan Gains. But Vegan Gains supported her. Vegan Gains supported Corey McCarthy. Corey McCarthy ends up divorcing or breaking up with Tara. He's with a new chick. He carries on. That's how the cookie crumbles. It's not as simple as judging somebody by the company they keep. At any point, including when I put up my first critique of FullyRawKristina, pointing out, hey, Kristina, this is who you're endorsing. This is who you're saying is a great spiritual leader. This is who you're saying people should trust and look up to. As somebody you're saying transformed your life and all these powerful positive effects on you. This is who this guy really is. This is what he's representing. This is what he's recruiting people into. And I don't think that's overstating the case. If you think there were no consequences, for example, for Vegan Gains' long flirtation with the alt-right and with white supremacists, frankly, white nationalists to be the best term, if you think there were no negative consequences of that, we have a great canary in the coal mine with the young Jejune Ask Yourself. Ask Yourself's the name of his YouTube channel. He was a podunk, ignorant kid with next to zero formal education and a diagnosis for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. You know, he was a very unlearned, needy kid seeking attention. And he got into the orbit of these people who looked up to including Vegan Gains, and then through Vegan Gains, including Corey McCarthy. And for several years on his Discord and on his YouTube channel, he was spinning these ridiculous arguments in favor of race realism. He became part of that whole Sturm and Drang over on the far right, neo-Nazi white supremacist end of the political spectrum. And you could see, there was another guy. These are all people I'm less than 6 degrees of separation from, because we're all vegan YouTubers, even if I've made dozens and dozens of videos criticizing them and excoriating. There was another guy named Jack Green who I actually met face-to-face in Thailand many years ago. And we got to see him get pulled into that orbit, and then step by step. First he made a video endorsing Julius Evola, then he made a video about Adolf Hitler. There have been quite a few kind of desperate, rootless young white men who did get influenced and converted, frankly, by Vegan Gains. And I know that wasn't his intention. I've talked to Richard about it years ago now, and he just said that he felt that Corey McCarthy was a great guy and giving great diet and exercise advice, and that it was good for veganism. He has said publicly also that he thinks it's really good to have right-wing people and not just left-wing people. You know, he has his own rationalization for this. But sure, actions have consequences. And with FullyRawKristina, I don't even know what it is. 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. But she has a long-term record of working with and promoting one of the most notorious and despicable neo-Nazis on the tube. So today, when she has to answer questions about what her own views are, she is not answering those questions for no good reason.
History books are bunk. Look what Henry Ford did. He spent $5 million of his money, sacrificed his life, sacrificed a lot of money. He lost a lot of business by spending that $5 million over a 7-year period of time. You know what he did? He bought a newspaper, refused to take any advertising. He lost money on it. Now, Henry Ford was a rich man. He was the richest guy back then, industrialist. He was a good man, kind-hearted man. He was a vegetarian. He doubled his workers' wages overnight, paid the guy who got the least more money than his competitors paid the most, gave him a pension plan. He donated $12 million the first year on behalf of those. And when he found out the powers that be and who they were, what did he do? He bought this newspaper, hired the best reporters you can find, the best private investigators, the best journalists, sent them all around the world to dig up the truth, put out weekly articles every so often, finally put all those into 2 books, 500 pages each, 2-volume book. You need to look at Henry Ford. He was a good man. He understood what we're talking about here. I'm not even going to tell you it, because it's going to push a hot button for some of you clowns out there. We've got books that are so full of shit, you don't realize it's making you a slave. Could reach the tipping point, and all of a sudden all of us bumped up our biophotons. All of us became better, the best that we can be.
The feeling that we're one
society.
with everything. That's the most perfect way to describe it.
It really is, and that's really what's important.
It's enlightenment. It's waking people up, right? Bringing them into consciousness. So many people right now are just asleep.
This is an exciting time to live. I'm telling you, we can wake up the masses and take back the money supply so we can take back our educational systems and all that kind of stuff. We got to take back the money supply. We got to do away with usury. The people who rule the world want everyone to be under usury, underneath their spell, their monetary system. If you think Hitler is evil, you'll never look at anything he did. That's why they did that. That's why they demonized him. There's a reason why we came over here and bombed the hell out of Germany, so that no one could see that they were prospering. We live on an abundant planet. Germany, Japan, Libya, they proved to the world we live on an abundant planet. What do? We go over there and attack them, destroy them. All wars are bankers' wars. That's what Henry Ford found out. It was these international bankers that are printing our money. That's what the wars were about last century. Gaddafi, same thing. Google Gaddafi, what he was doing for that country. People loved him over there. They were flourishing over there, proving to Africa, hey, we're in a desert, but we're going to make it flourish. Can't have that happen on this planet, because we got sick assholes out here that rule everything. I'm tired of this. When you bump up those biophotons, when you get your sixth sense, you realize there's only one way for me to make my life better, since I'm connected to everything, is to make everything around me better. If we all had that mentality, we would have what's called reciprocal altruism. Hitler was pretty nice to the Jews after what the Jews did to Hitler.
I am so excited that you guys joined us today for this conversation. If you've liked it, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and head on over to John's YouTube channel, hit the subscribe, watch some of his videos and support him. He's truly just a gem on this planet. So much knowledge to share, so much love to share.
If it wasn't for Hitler, this would be a different world. We've got to open up our mind and realize what kind of injustice we're doing to this man. And it reminds me of what happened to me when I got into college. And I found out that I was lied to about the American Indians. That they weren't savages. They weren't scalping us. We were scalping them. The white man had bounties on the Native Americans, and they retaliated. And yet I grew up thinking that these were the bad people. I really feel bad that I felt that way about someone and they didn't deserve that type of condemnation. Well, you guys, most of us, every one of us basically is doing that to Hitler and the German people. These are lies, just like we lied about the Native Americans. With an open mind, within 5 minutes, you can prove the Holocaust is a scam. 5 minutes, with an open mind. And once you realize that's a scam, then everything else falls apart too. So let's not discuss whether it's totalitarianism or dictatorship. It's not the point. You're getting distracted. When you look at the big picture and you find out who's pulling the strings, you realize, oh, okay, the Satanists snuck into the Jewish religion, and now they're calling themselves Jews when they're Zionists, they're Satanists. And then they got the other two religions, Christians and Muslims, to fight against one another. Germany and Japan prove to the world that we live on an abundant planet, and our debt masters cannot allow that to happen. So they own the media, they brainwashed everyone, they made sure the history books were written that told their story, that these guys were bad and they did all these bad things, and it's all hokum, it's all bullshit. Reinforcing this belief that these people are the epitome of evil. Anybody who uses Hitler and Nazis as the epitome for evil on a repeated basis like that is obviously a shill and is part of controlled opposition. Don't look at what Hitler did in Germany and Japan. Don't look at what they did, because they proved to the world that we live on an abundant planet. Let's not discuss whether it's totalitarianism or dictatorship. It's not the point.
The excuses offered by FullyRawKristina are, in a word, ridiculous. John Rose is not just some guy she met at the supermarket when he tapped her on the shoulder one day. It is not for no reason at all that journalists and YouTubers and commentators have been saying for some time that there is a powerful connection between her and the neo-Nazi white supremacist right wing. But let's pretend. Let's just engage in a hypothetical thought exercise. What if her story was true? What if she just met some guy at a supermarket and he was kind of cute and he took his shirt off on camera and looked impressive and he said, hey, you eat a vegan diet, I eat a vegan diet too. Let's do a YouTube video together. That's a situation I might find myself in down at the JCC sometime. No, you remember once I was in a restaurant and there was a vegan bodybuilder. It was a dude next to me, no homo. And I struck up conversation with him. And we did a YouTube video together. It happened. Now, it could have turned out that guy had some bizarre and extreme political views. I didn't know, but could have happened. Could happen to you, right? You could. Her story, it's false, it's implausible, it's ridiculous. She is just covering her ass. She is lying in plain English. But if it were true, what would you do? Just keep it real. Doesn't it occur to anyone anymore? Just get on the fucking microphone and keep it real. Just come on the microphone and share your reaction. Just share your reaction. Holy shit. That random dude I met at a grocery store turns out to be a neo-Nazi. Just tell the truth. And if you're ignorant, be honest and open about your ignorance. Can I believe that she never saw any of the videos? And there were many, many, many videos in which John Rose was stating this kind of insane neo-Nazi conspiracy theory. No, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. But on the other hand, can I believe that like Trisha Paytas had never heard of the Holocaust? You know what I mean? Like things that we see it all the time. We see that all the time. People who are just shockingly ignorant of politics and history. People who have like level 0 education, level 0 cosmopolitanism. And, you know, when Trisha Paytas, it proves true. But if you can just live that truth, if you can just keep it real, if you can just come on camera and say, holy shit, by the dead gods, Odin's beard, whatever curse word you want to use, come on camera and just say you had no idea that the Celtic art you had tattooed on your arm turns out to be a neo-Nazi symbol, that you just have an appreciation for the Norse gods, and what you got tattooed in your other arm, you didn't mean it to be a neo-Nazi, and you joined the Sons of Odin because you're just into alternative lifestyles and black magic, and they had a raw fruit luck that you showed up. Whatever your fucking story is, if you actually were so ignorant of the history and politics of the world that you watched this kind of video from John Rose and like, whoop, you just had no idea what was going on. If we are going to rank intelligence on a scale of Trisha Paytas to FullyRawKristina, we're dealing with the difference between like negative integers here, people. It's hard to say who is stupider and who is more ignorant when you're looking at Trisha Paytas and FullyRawKristina, my colleagues and contemporaries here on YouTube. It's possible. It's possible she really was that stupid. She really was that ignorant. But then just get on the mic. Just get on the camera and share your truth. Okay? And God, there will be more people in the audience who sympathize with you than those who don't. But the worst thing you can do is exactly what FullyRawKristina did. And that is living a lie. That is doubling down and justifying it. And I've seen the discussion on Twitter where Vegan Gains called her out and she stood up and made excuses, and I've seen it on Facebook, and I'm sorry, I lived through this. I am 100% certain it began with me. It began with my channel making that video that got me blacklisted, and then a bunch of other channels, some bigger, some smaller, including Vegan Gains, picking up the story and running with it. Now, here we are in 2021, and you tell me what happens next. What is the moral of the story? The future of the vegan movement is who? It's not going to be John Rose. It's not going to be FullyRawKristina. Okay? Future of the vegan movement, it's up to me and you.
I am not a neo-Nazi.
Dun, 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 dun.